So I'm going to apologize up front for the quality of this video. It was kind of misty, foggy, and pretty much 100% humidity out there, which makes these thermals pretty grainy. But we're out calling coyotes, and I have some deer up ahead of me here. You can see just now kind of a shadow of a coyote coming through the fence line left to right, and he's going to pop out on my side of the fence here. Well, we're set up calling. The collar is on my side of the fence. Got my hunting partner on the other side of the fence, um, watching pasture. On this side, it's combine corn. The corn stalks haven't been worked at all, so they're a little bit taller, and you can see this. You can't always see the whole coyote as he's coming in, and he's taking his time, but he is coming. So I'm just gonna let him come. I think on this set we had a couple of howls as normal, and nothing answered close. A few far off, but then I switched to like a rabbit distress, and that's what this one is coming to. Right about here, I start switching color palettes and focus to try to see if I can get a little bit better picture because it's just not happy with what I'm seeing, but it's really about the best they can do. I think he looks a little bit better here in black hot. And he's still coming, but I figure he's getting about close enough, so I'm probably gonna take him here. That 22 Creed just tips him right over. See, the deer got a little bit nervous there, but they didn't completely scatter after that shot. Here we are, same set, still calling, changed to like a coyote fight, coyote distress, and we have one coming in from the west here. And he's out in the corn, and he kind of disappears here and there. There's some dips out there. Um, and he's still quite a ways off, but I can tell that he's not coming in straight to the call. The caller would be, I don't know, off to my left here from this angle. And you can see he's putting the super circle on us, which has got me a little bit worried because the wind is blowing out of the southeast, and he's headed for it. I can tell, right in here, I can tell he's not going to stop and come straight towards the call. He's probably going to keep circling. So I've decided that I'm going to try to take my first good shot at him where I can see the whole thing. So right about here, I start barking at him. And that'll work. That one was about, I think, 210, 220, something like that. Second set was empty, but as we're walking up this two-track road on the third set, buddy spots this one out in the cornfield, and we just set the tripod up and took him out. Hit him a little bit high, as you could see the parts flying there. We got the deer in the background. They really don't seem that concerned about that suppressed shot. Let's take a look at slow motion here. Look at the stuff fly. Just when you think it's done, here comes another piece. The 22 Creed is pretty rough on him. Then we just walking down that same two-track a little bit further, and my buddy spots this one out in the field on the other side of the road. And so we back off to about 50 yards and set up in this fence line. and I put the collar's off to my left and probably 60 yards out in the field. My buddy's off to my right, probably about 50 yards, sitting in the same fence line. And I just do like a pair howl, I think. And this guy howled back, and then I answered it with like a young, kind of high-pitched howl, and he started coming. And he's coming in, just nice and slow. I have no issue with wind here. It's pretty much in her face. And at this point, my buddy hadn't even shot at a coyote yet, so on the radio, I told him, "Hey, this one's yours if he keeps coming like he is." We're gonna let him come a little bit further, and then he's gonna bark at him to stop. And I'm gonna let my buddy, shoot. I'm gonna be right behind him. You can see that he hit him low, and because of that, he crouched down, and I hit him high, and neither one of us hit him real well. And this part is, I don't know, a little graphic, but it's what happened. So right around here, I can see he's gonna need another bullet. I don't know what I was shooting at there. That was just horrible. Maybe you want to track him a little bit. There we go. That'll put him down. So that one came into just pure howls. And we'll take a look at the slow motion here. You can see my buddy hits him low, or hits a back leg actually. I think it went underneath and took out the back leg, and then he was already crouching when I shot, and so that's why I hit him high. All right, now we're off to our next set, and this part you can probably tell is sped up a little bit. I think this is 4x, just because it took this guy a little time to come in. We'd set up on this cornfield and start out with some lone howls like I usually do, and did a few like high-pitched answer howls of my own, and nothing really answered, or at least not close. There's a few howling off in the distance, but then I look up and this guy is coming in. And right about here, I slow it back down to 1x because it starts to get a little more interesting. And you can see the train coming through in the background there, and I'm thinking might not be helpful, but it doesn't seem to bother the coyote at all. In fact, he starts howling. He's looking around, trying to find where that coyote is that he heard over here. And he's a little bit hung up. He's hanging out there a little bit farther than I would like. I'm not sure how far, maybe 200 yards. But I'm just going to be patient with him as he's come this far, and he might continue wandering in this direction. The collar is just a little bit, I think, kind of in the same line, but just closer to me. You can't quite see it in this frame. So he's definitely found his way fairly close to the collar already, just based off a few howls. But this is where I'd really be nice to have audio recording on my scope, because this was pretty cool out there alive, hearing this guy howl and look around, trying to find that coyote that he was hearing. But I need to feel like I need to get him going here. So I start some bull squeaks on my collar, just kind of soft. I didn't want him to lose interest, and his ears perked up, and here he comes. You can see my collar to in kind of the lower right-hand corner of the screen there. I figured, well, the collar's about 60 yards. He's got to be 100 something. That's close enough. So that's number one. I'm going to keep calling here. I think I just do go back into some more howls. And we're going to switch over to my buddy's scope. This is a Pulsar, I forget what, but I believe it's a 640 scope. And you can see it's also struggling with the fog slash mist that we have going on. But, um, he radioed me and he says, I got one over here in the grass. And I'd been doing some howls and still hadn't played any sort of distress yet at this point in the set. And this guy came looking. And I radioed my buddy and I said, well, just let me know if you need a couple more howls. I'm off to the right, on kind of around the hill, so I can't actually see this coyote or what's going on here. But he says, yeah, give me a couple more howls. So I do, and that perked him up a little bit again. Here he comes. Made a good shot at him there. Shot him again just for good measure, but I think he was done. So that's number two for the set. And I still haven't done any distress sounds at all. And we're going to stay on my buddy's scope because even though I ended up shooting this last one in all the excitement, I didn't get the record button pushed. So we're going to stick with his scope. But I went to some coyote fight distress type sounds, and we got this one coming in from the left. He's coming pretty hot. And I think I could see him right about here, but I was kind of fumbling with my remote, trying to get it turned down, and then trying to get back on my gun and find him in the scope again. I couldn't find him, had to get on my scanner and locate him, and then back to my scope. So it took a while for me to get on him, but luckily he was pretty cooperative. I hit him really well and actually shot a few times, and I actually shot, I think, another time as well, but I don't think either of us touched him again. I think the first shot was all I needed. It was through the vitals, but kind of out the guts. He was quartered towards me, but that took care of him. Now we switch back to my scope here just to show that's the caller there, that little dot, about 60 yards. And there's the first coyote I shot, 100 some yards. And then we're going to pan over and find where the third one finally ended up. And the second one that my buddy shot, I can't see from my angle. He's around the side of the hill. But had three, or shot three in that set, and 7 for the night, and we call it a night. So here's the first double that I shot. And here's the one that we just spotted out in the cornfield and I sniped. This was the double tap in the bean field. And finally the cornfield triple.